It's high tide time. What do I mean by high tide time? Well, back to school time, right? So we have the new emotions, the newness, the new feelings, uncomfortableness, excitement, anxiousness, nervousness, and so much. I know I certainly am experiencing this year with both my kids having to go to new schools because they graduated from, so my little one graduated from pre-K, and so he has to go to kindergarten. It's a new school, new environment. He has to go by bus. And my older one is going into middle school. So we've got both of them they have reached the milestone. And so there is absolutely craziness going on. There is nervousness and excitement at the same time. And so I am trying to stay, of course, keep my cool, but at the same time, I am working on providing that safe space for my kids so that they can feel comfortable expressing their emotions. So today I want to share 4 possible ways that you can, help your child in the distress, in the newness and the new phase of this school year. And so without taking a further ado, let's take a dive in. So before we even go further, I want to share this example. So let's say, for example, you're starting a new job and a career, and you go to your, first day of work, come back home, and somebody's just like, you have so much that you want to share. And let's say you go to your partner and you're just saying, you're like, hey, I want to share something. And your partner goes like, yeah, I'm listening. And then you start talking, but your partner is, either with his or her phone, or they're cooking, or they're doing dishes, or they're watching TV. How do you feel? Right? Yeah. Awful. It's like, you know what? Forget it. I don't want to talk, right? Same thing happens with our child. When they come from school, some kids have so much that they want to share, and some kids just shut off. It's an art of, for us parents to understand what works better for our children. So I always say parenting is it's art and the science, and it's like a mixture, and it's not a one size fits all, because what works for me might not works for you, and what works for you might not works for me. In fact, what works for my older one doesn't work for my little one, and what works for my little one doesn't work for my older one. And so it all depends. So this is all a trial and testing period where we can learn about each other and with each other, right? So here are some ways that you can help your child deal with this feelings of nervousness, excitement, whatever they're feeling this year for the back to school. And so number 1 is, instead of half listening, listen with full attention. Like how I said in previous example, right? It can be so discouraging to try to get through to someone who is not paying attention to us, right? And who's just lip servicing, and they're not looking at us, and they're, multitasking, they're doing their own thing. It's just like, you know what? Forget it. I don't want to talk to you. And so our kids feel the same. And so I feel like it's much easier to tell our stories and, experiences and share with a parent who is really listening. And so that's what our children are feeling. And we don't have to say anything. Often it's, our silence and our presence is what our child needs. So there you go. Listen with full attention instead of listening, instead of half listening. Number 2, instead of questions and advice, acknowledge their feelings. So important when we're in the moment. It's important to, to show up with presence. It's important to give them attention instead of asking questions. And It's my personal experience actually. When we're in the moment and when kids come and they have like so much excitement to share something and they want to tell all these stories, and all we do is start asking questions and giving them advice. For example, let's say your child comes and, goes like, "Oh, I lost my pencil again third time today," or "I my pencil was stolen again." What we do is like we start giving them advice and we start asking, "Oh, really? Was it really stolen or you misplaced it?" Right? So that just shows that we're not trusting our child. And so in during this time when their feelings and when they're coming home from school and stuff, they don't need more questions and your advice. All they want is your presence and you acknowledging their feelings. For example, when, let's say, if they're saying something, instead of just blaming them, questioning or advising them, what you can do is, acknowledge, like, "Oh, really?" For example, right? "Oh, yeah, I see. Oh, that must be so cool." Things like that, because I feel it's kids catch up on our energy more than our words. So it's just our attitude, and they can feel our energy with how we're saying. And so just don't ask question to ask question, and they really don't need to know your advice, that's for sure. What they need is they need a safe space so that they can express their feelings. Number 3, instead of denying the feeling, help them identify their feeling, right? Because I feel like a child who learns the vocabulary, the words for what they're experiencing inside feels deeply comforted. And, it feels when we acknowledge their experiences, they feel like, "Oh yeah, you know what? She is listening to me." Or they feel there is this whole sense of safe space. And so it's so important to, just, for example, when they are crying or something, what we do is like, "Oh, stop crying. What's in it to cry about?" Right? That's denying. And what we're saying is like, "Oh, I know better than you do." But you're not in their body, so how do you know what they're going through? And so let's let them express their feelings. Number 4, instead of explanation and logic, give your child a sense of fantasy, or like a wishes and fantasy. Let me explain, what do I mean. When children want something and they can't have it, what we adults do is we usually respond with like logical explanation of, why can't they have certain things, or why can't they go to certain places, right? And I have experienced that often the harder we explain, the harder they protest. And it's actually psychologically, that's how it goes. When you're in the moment, we're in the heat of the moment, and you're trying to give all these logical explanation and you're lecturing, it doesn't work. Their brain doesn't register and they just protest, right? And they will just backtalk, or they'll have tantrums, and they'll experience bigger emotions, and on the other side it will shut them off. It's just creates more chaos. And sometimes just having someone understand how much you want something makes it reality easier to handle or easier to understand. What do I mean by that? For example, let's say, my little one has done this many times. So he loves banana. And if we bought banana and, the banana is not ready to eat yet, what he'll do is, he'll scream about it. "I want banana," or, whatnot. And he'll have his moments of frustration and screaming. And what I do in return is, "Oh man, I wish I can just make this banana ripe so fast that you can eat right now." And what makes him in that moment when I say, a phrase like that, or when I acknowledge that he really wants it and I, focus on his wish, he says, "Oh, I know. It'll be so nice if this can ripe if I can eat this banana right now. Okay, what can I eat instead of this banana? Cause you said I can't eat this banana." Right? So it makes it so much easier for him to process that, okay, this banana is just not ready to eat. And it always works. It works with him. And, it just, especially with little kids, you always do it with fantasy. And when it's about, older kids, you just say, "Oh, yeah, I wish we can do this. That would be so cool to do this." I know I always thought it would be so nice to go and stay with my friends, but when I don't get invitations from my friends' family, I can't just go to their house like that. Right? So when you, instead of explaining logically with the seriousness, add some playfulness, add some fun, and add some, convey it with like added imagination or fantasy. And that this way they are more receptive to it. So I hope this helps. So to summarize, here are the four ways that you can help your child in distress during this back to school time. Number one is by listening with full attention. Number two is by acknowledging their feelings with the word or with short words. And number three, by helping them identify their feelings. And number four, by acknowledging them with fantasy or wishes instead of logically explaining why can't they have certain things. don't let people who do so little for you define so much of you. Yes. This is like because I am recovering people pleaser myself, and I used to take everyone's opinions and advice so much into my head until I learned that I have all the answers within myself. Yes, it's a one thing to take resources and learn from it, but it's another thing to take somebody's advice and opinions to the heart and make it my own. I don't have to do it. I can make my choice. Yes, I do go and ask, for help, but I don't take other people's words so seriously and just do it. So for example, when I mean don't let other people define so much of you when they do so little, is like, you are the one who is with yourself 24/7, not everybody, right? And so you don't have to listen to what other people say, or what are they gonna say, or what are other people gonna think about me. Let's put that aside. Let's put that in the back burner. Burn it up, chuck it up. We don't need that. You be you. You live, your values, and just move forward. And so I am a recovering people pleaser. So I know how it is to, not let other people's opinions to my heart. And lesson number 10, and it's so important, and I am reminding that this is like the most important lesson that I need to take it with me, is it's okay to outgrow people who aren't growing. Yes. And it's okay to change your inner circle. It's okay to, make a choice again and to hang out with someone who is helping you evolve and who's helping you grow, right? Like how they say, if you're the smartest person in the room, change the room. So it's okay to outgrow people. And yeah, you don't have to stay with the same person just because you grew up together. If you don't align, if you don't have same values, if you're not aligned, if if the friend is not helping you in the sense, with your dream. Like when I say helping you with your dream, doesn't mean like helping you, like literally helping you, but who is always criticizing you and who doesn't believe in you. Those are not the people that you want to hang out with anymore. And so it's okay to outgrow people. I mean, I am outgrowing relatives and family members. Yes. I don't share much about it, but yeah, I am like literally cutting people off of my life just because they're relatives or just because they're a family member. But if they're not, they don't have like good wishes for me, peace out. You're not for me, I'm not for you, and I don't have to be for everyone. And everybody doesn't have to be for me, right? And so it's okay for us to outgrow people who aren't growing and who are, not aligning with my value, not aligning with my, my purpose, who are, gossiping and who are talking behind my back and who are telling me, oh, this is not the right thing to do, who are telling me and, criticizing me and things like that. So it's okay. And so it's okay to outgrow. I hope these 10 lessons I'm taking these to my heart and reminding myself that I am a gift to the world and I can make an impact. And so I hope this serve you as much as it is serving me. See you next time.